the groan of timbers, the whisper of canvas, the first light of a new day finds us already adrift. The year is 1522. Somewhere west of the Azores, a Portuguese caravel slices through the Atlantic swell. It is no grand galleon, no armada flagship, but a modest vessel tasked with mapping coastlines, testing wind currents, and reaching for promises inked on royal scrolls. The ship is small, barely 80 feet from bow to stern. Crammed into her creaking frame are 24 men, the smell of salt and sweat, and the weight of the unknown. At dawn, the ship breathes before her crew stirs. Below deck, the darkness is near total. The only light seeps through thin gaps in the hull, cast in stripes across rough plank flooring. Men sleep in hammocks strung tight like the webbing of tired spiders. Some still clutch the edge with one hand, a reflex, a habit, lest a sudden wave tip the balance and spill them onto the boards below. The air down here is foul, not by intention, but inevitability. There is no fresh air in the belly of the caravel, only the mingling of salted fish, unwashed bodies, tar, rope, and mouldy biscuits. Rats scurry unseen. The men learned long ago not to fear them. They're better than weevils. A bell rings softly, once. The morning watch has begun. A grizzled sailor named Duarte swings his legs from the hammock. He is 32, but the sea has etched 50 into his skin. His tunic is stiff with salt, and his bare feet find the damp boards without complaint. He does not speak. Words are precious at sea, wasted on nothing. Others rouse in kind, a quiet ripple of movement. No yawns, no chatter, only the practiced motions of men who wake as they must, not as they wish. On deck, the sky is bruised with the earliest light. The sails, slack through the night, now twitch and fill as the morning breeze begins to stir. The helmsman, having relieved the night pilot, adjusts the rudder by feel more than sight. Seagulls circle, there is no land in sight, but the birds have followed them for days. Superstition says it is a good omen. The navigator says it means land lies a week behind. The cook is already awake. There is no true galley, only a small firebox set in a sand-filled pit on the deck near the stern, sheltered with planks. Fire at sea is dangerous, but so is cold, uncooked food. Smoke curls from the box in thin, disciplined wisps. The cook's name is Teo. He speaks to no one, though he hums an off-key tune as he stirs a pot. What he stirs cannot be called stew, nor porridge. It is a slurry, ground biscuit, dried peas, and the hint of salted meat boiled to mush. But it is warm, and in the damp chill of the sea wind, that is luxury enough. Each man receives a portion in a wooden bowl. There are no spoons. Most use their fingers, or pieces of hard biscuit, dipped and softened. Teo makes no eye contact as he ladles. The men grunt their thanks, or give none. Captain Afonso d'Oliveira appears on deck as the sun crests the horizon, a man of stiff posture and clean linen, whose beard is always neatly combed. He says nothing of the food, he never eats in front of the crew. Instead, he ascends the quarterdeck with slow, deliberate steps, observing the sails and their angles. He watches the waves, not just their shape, but the way they move. He sees something in them that others do not. Below, a boy scrubs the deck with seawater and a stiff brush. He is 12. His name is Iago, and he was once a dock thief in Lisbon. Now he is the ship's boy, a role that includes everything and excludes nothing. He cleans, he fetches, he climbs when others will not, he listens, he learns. And when the boatswain shouts, he runs. Sail maintenance begins after breakfast. A loose rope must be retied, a frayed line replaced. High in the rigging, a man named Gaspar clutches the shroud with salt-bitten fingers. He climbs like a cat, the ship rolling gently below him. The wind here bites harder. From the crow's nest, the ocean stretches in every direction. Eternal blue, churning with secrets. Gaspar adjusts a block and tackle, mutters a curse, then spits. He does not fear heights. He fears only boredom. Back on deck, charts are unfurled. The navigator, a soft-eyed man named Thomas, studies the stars inked by hand onto goatskin parchment. Last night, he marked their latitude using an astrolabe and steady hands. He does not speak of it unless asked. The sea is his language, and he knows how to read its silence. Today's heading remains unchanged. West by southwest. They chase no treasure, only possibility. The Spanish claim to have touched new shores. The Portuguese crown is hungry to do the same. A sudden shout breaks the rhythm. "Something in the water!" Men rush to the port side, leaning over the railing. A dark shape moves just beneath the surface. For a moment it appears as shadow, then shape, then certainty. A whale, massive, silent. It glides parallel to the ship, close enough to smell its breath, rank and sweet, like spoiled wine and salt rock. The creature breaks the surface, exhales a misty plume, and descends once more. The men stare long after it disappears. It is not the first whale they've seen, but it never ceases to quiet them. It reminds them how small they are, how far from home. A sailor crosses himself, another spits into the sea. One simply returns to his rope work, eyes cast down. The day warms, the sun climbs, the wind grows stronger. By mid-morning, sweat shines on foreheads. Tunics are unbuttoned, the deck is alive with work. Lines coiled, barrels shifted, sails trimmed. The ship creaks not in protest, but purpose. Captain Afonso orders a change in tack. The men move without delay. It is a dance they know well. The pull and release, the pivot and brace. The helmsman, Joao, leans into the tiller, muscles taut as the wind shifts. Above, the sails snap like thunder. Below, the hull groans. The caravel swings into her new bearing with the grace of a woman turning in sleep. Thomas marks their new heading. Gaspar climbs again to adjust the topsail. Iago scrubs, then runs to refill the captain's cup. The sea sparkles in the growing light. For a moment, all is calm, orderly, measured, and clear. But the ocean is not a friend. By noon, clouds gather in the west, dark, low, and brooding. The captain says nothing, but Thomas narrows his eyes. The wind smells different, thicker, charged. The gulls are gone. And on deck, each man begins to move a little faster, a little more deliberately. They know what comes next. The horizon has changed. By midday, the wind no longer sings, it hisses. Clouds form like bruises across the western sky, swelling and low. They are not yet black, but they will be. To the seasoned, the warning is clear. The sea is restless. There is no alarm, no shouting, not yet, but the men feel it. Ropes are checked and tightened, tools stowed, loose crates are lashed down with quiet precision. The sails are trimmed smaller, reefed to lessen their pull. The deck has become a stage, and each man knows his steps by heart. Captain Afonso stands at the stern, gaze fixed on the coming storm. His hand rests on the rail, knuckles pale. He says nothing. Below deck, the tension thickens like damp wool. Hammocks swing slightly from the ship's sway. The barrels creak in their mounts. Rats go still. Teo the cook pours seawater over the hearth box, extinguishing the small fire. No warm meal will be had until the skies calm. The sea is no longer a rhythm, it is a warning. The first drop of rain is silent. It lands on the rail, then another on the deck. Cold, sharp. Joel the helmsman squints at the sky. "She's coming fast," he mutters, not to anyone in particular. Beside him, Thomas clutches the edge of a rolled chart as wind tries to pull it free. He gives up and lets it go. Knowledge is useless when the sea decides to speak. The ship lurches forward, wind slams the sails, even reefed. The ropes scream in protest, water slaps the bow and rises in sheets over the railing, and then it begins, the full breath of the storm. Rain whips sideways, stinging faces. Thunder follows the light, not the other way around. Each bolt cracks the sky like glass. Gaspar, aloft in the rigging, grips the yardarm with calloused hands. His body sways like a shadow. Below, Iago looks up, soaked to the skin, eyes wide. He is not afraid. Not yet. He is watching, memorizing. Gaspar does not climb down. There's no time. He shouts to the men below, signalling a twist in the topsail. One rope loose, one too tight. His voice is nearly lost in the wind, but someone hears. A young sailor darts forward to adjust it. The team works as one. No yelling, no panic. Only precision. Survival depends on it. Below deck, the storm is a god. It moans through the hull. It shakes the barrels. Water drips from unseen cracks. Afonso descends briefly to count supplies. He notes the fresh water. 2 barrels full, 1 a quarter. Salt pork remains for 4 more days. Hard tack for a week. Dried peas, enough. He says nothing to the men huddled below, but they read his silence. No storm lasts forever, but some leave no ship behind. On deck, one of the ropes snaps. The sound is a cannon shot. It lashes across the deck and hits a sailor in the arm, hard enough to break bone. He screams once, then collapses. Iago is there before anyone else. He kneels, trembling, pressing a cloth to the man's arm. Blood soaks it instantly. Teo arrives with strips of sailcloth. The injured man, barely conscious, is dragged below. Gaspar finally descends from the rigging. His face is cut, a thin red line across his cheek. He ties it off with a strip of his sleeve. He does not mention it. The captain helps no one. He watches everything. The waves are not monsters. They are rhythm made rage. The ship rises and falls, each swell higher than the last. The deck vanishes under white water again and again. Salt stings eyes. Voices are swallowed. Still, they endure. They know to lean into the tilt, to brace against the lurch. They know which ropes are safe, which boards are slick. The storm does not ask who is strong, only who is ready. Hours pass, time bends, the rain lightens. The wind, once a scream, lowers to a growl. The clouds split just enough for light to break through, not golden, not warm, but grey and weak. It is enough. The men look up, blinking. Some smile, just slightly. The storm has not passed entirely, but the worst has. And then comes the quiet. Not silence, never silence on a ship, but a softer stillness. The ropes hum again, not snap. The sails begin to fill, not fight. The sea breathes deeper, no longer thrashing. Teo relights the firebox. It sputters, then takes. He makes a stew. Dried fish, biscuit, salt. It's hot. It tastes like life. The men gather, one by one, wet and tired. No one complains. A few speak, softly, jokes about the storm, curses about the rope, prays for Gaspar, nods to Iago. Captain Afonso says nothing, but when he passes the boy, he places a hand on his shoulder. It lingers a moment. That night, the stars return. Thomas emerges with a fresh chart, hands careful. He finds their position, marks their progress. They are still on course, barely. Below deck, the injured sailor sleeps in pain, his arm splintered with scrapwood and tied with pitch-soaked cloth. Others sleep wherever they can. The hammocks sway gently now. Gaspar returns to the rigging, not for duty, for air. He climbs high and rests against the mainmast, eyes half closed. Iago watches him, then mimics the climb, just halfway, gripping tightly, heart racing. He does not fear the sea yet, but he understands her better now. The ship drifts westward, the logs record little, only the date, the heading, the weather. But no log will mention the blood on the deck, the rope burn, the cracked ribs, the fear in the helmsman's grip. No log will say that the storm made men of boys, that for a few hours the sea reminded them all that they are nothing without each other. Night comes gently after the storm. The sea, ever unpredictable, has chosen mercy, for now. Waves settle into a steady rhythm, rocking the caravel with the slow grace of a cradle. The wind, still present, now hums rather than howls. The sails stretch wide in surrender to it. The deck is washed clean by the rain. Salt clings to the planks in a delicate frost. The moon, not full but bold, rises over the eastern horizon, casting silver light across the damp wood. And the men, though weary, find a kind of peace. The firebox glows softly near the stern. Around it they gather, not in ceremony but necessity. Wet clothes dry on outstretched arms. Stew bowls are scraped clean. Jokes return, halting at first, then bold. A hand slaps her back. A laugh breaks the hush. They have survived the day, and when the sea lets them rest, they honour it not with silence, but with stories. It begins, as it always does, with one voice. Gaspar, perched on a barrel near the coals, speaks first. Off the coast of Guinea, he says, as if the memory has been waiting for the right moment. There's a reef they call the Devil's Teeth, not for its shape, but because it bites. The younger sailors lean in. Iago sits cross-legged, face half-shadowed. Gaspar continues. Portuguese ship, São Lourenço, tried to anchor there. Calm seas, perfect sky, not a wave in sight, but the moment the anchor dropped, something pulled it down. Not fast, slow, like a hand, dragging it deeper. Kraken? Someone asks. Gaspar shakes his head. Number worse. The sea itself. Captain cut the line. Didn't even try to pull it back. Said the ocean didn't want us there. A silence follows. Not one of fear, but of belief. Sailors do not scoff at such things. They cannot afford to. Superstition is not weakness, it is survival. Every man aboard knows not to whistle while lowering the anchor. It invites the wind, and the wrong kind. No one trims their nails on deck. No one opens a cask of water without marking it first. And no one, under any circumstance, speaks the name of a lost ship aloud. Even the captain, whose eyes are trained in reason, does not interfere when Gaspar hangs dried sage from the mainmast after a squall. He may not believe, but he respects the belief. Thomas, the navigator, contributes next. Not a story, but a quiet comment. Did you see the lightning? He asks. They nod. It struck 3 times. Same point in the sky. That's a sign. The elders say it's the path of souls trying to return home. No one laughs. No one questions. Instead, they look toward the moonlit water, half expecting to see something rise from it. Teo the cook breaks the tension. There's an old one, he says, stirring the embers, about a sailor who fell in love with the sea. A few groan, knowing this tale, but Teo tells it anyway, in his gravel soft voice. He said the sea had a voice, heard it in the waves, said it whispered to him at night, promised him land, gold, love, everything. The fire pops, a spark dances toward the dark. But every time he got close, the sea pulled away. Days turned to weeks. Food ran out, water spoiled, he went mad. What happened to him? Iago asks. Teo leans closer. He jumped. One night, quietly, thought he was going to meet her. He pauses, voice lower. They found him the next day, in his hammock, bone dry, eyes wide open. The men fall quiet again, not from fear, from reverence. These stories are not meant to entertain. They are rituals, spells in a way. Spoken to ward off the creeping sense of smallness. For on this sea there are no cities, no churches, no inns, only stars, wood, and faith. Iago asks a question. Has anyone ever seen the green flash? The older sailors murmur. Gaspar nods. Once, he says, off the coast of Hispaniola, just as the sun vanished. A blink, nothing more, like the sea held its breath. What does it mean? Iago asks. Depends who you ask, Thomas says. Some say it means you'll see the place you long for. Others shake their heads. No, says Joan quietly. It means you'll never see land again, that the seas claimed you. The fire dies to coals. One by one, the men drift off. Some return below deck to the damp warmth of hammocks. Others stay above, preferring the scent of salt air to the closeness of the hold. Iago lingers, legs tucked to his chest, watching the stars. Gaspard joins him. He does not speak, simply sits. They watch the moon climb higher. The waves shimmer beneath it, and for a while, nothing moves but time. Below, in the dark, the ship groans. The injured sailor breathes unevenly. The rats have returned. Barrels shift with each roll. A sailor named Rui mutters in his sleep. Something about fire, about wings, about drowning. Teo lies awake, staring into the black above him. He remembers his wife's hands. He remembers the curve of Lisbon streets. He remembers a warm bread. He wonders if she still lights a candle for him. Captain Afonso writes in his journal. The page is lit by a single oil lamp. His script is precise, looping. June 3rd, west by southwest. Storm past. One injured, supplies intact. Spirits high. Spoke no correction to the tales tonight. They are needed, as much as the stars. He pauses, then adds, Iago is learning. He closes the journal and stows it. Then he sits, still, listening to the hull, listening to the water, listening for what only the sea can say. In the quiet hours, time bends again. The moon fades behind a cloud. The stars remain, and somewhere on the horizon not yet touched, there waits a land no map yet holds, a place the sea guards in silence. But tonight she has let them pass. The sea has grown still, too still. It is the kind of quiet that unsettles even seasoned sailors, a flat calm, as if the ocean itself were holding its breath. The sails hang slack. The caravel drifts, caught in the slow pull of currents older than empires. 3 days have passed since the storm, 3 days of strange weather, grey skies, and restless sleep. And then, just before dawn, a cry cuts the hush. Land! A single voice, broken by disbelief. Then another, and another. Land! Off the port side! Men rush to the railing, boots thud across planks, hands point, eyes squint through fog and haze, and there it is, a shadow, faint, just beyond the reach of certainty, rising like a ghost from the sea. By morning, it is no longer a dream. Land, unmistakable now, a low coastline, heavy with trees, mist coils around the jungle edge. The shoreline is jagged, dotted with black rock and white sand. No smoke, no structures, no sails on the horizon. It is, for now, untouched. Captain Afonso says nothing as he gazes through his spyglass. His face is unreadable. Thomas charts their position, but his hands tremble slightly. Iago stares with wide eyes. He has never seen a place without walls, without ships, without the sound of bells. Even Gaspar, hard as the rigging he climbs, goes still. This is why they came. Not gold, not fame, but this moment. The ship anchors in shallow water. The hull groans as it slows. The sea below is suddenly clear. Coral, fish, sand. After weeks of endless blue, the colour feels unnatural. Alive. A small boat is lowered. Captain Afonso, Thomas, Gaspar, and 2 sailors climb aboard. Teo hands them dried meat and water skins. Iago watches, waiting for an order that doesn't come. The captain catches his eye. You'll stay, he says. Iago nods, swallowing his longing. The rowboat pulls away, dipping into the swell. Oars creak. The beach draws closer. And then, without fanfare, the men step ashore. The first to touch land in weeks. Perhaps the first from their world to ever do so. The jungle watches them. They do not speak, even Gaspar. The sounds of the island fill the silence. Birds unknown to them. Wind through trees, shaped like no trees they've seen. insects buzzing in odd rhythms. They walk carefully, avoiding the thicker undergrowth. There are no signs of people, no paths, no tools, no voices, only the sound of the explorer's boots pressing into wet sand and fallen leaves. Thomas kneels near a strange tree. Its fruit is round, red, like apples, but softer. He breaks one open. The scent is sweet, but foreign. No bites, Gaspar mutters. Still, they do not eat. The captain marks the place. A small wooden stake, carved with a cross and a symbol of the crown. It is placed in the sand near the tree line. A ritual, a claim, but even Afonso does not say the words aloud. This place does not feel claimed. It feels ancient, watching, waiting. They return to the ship before nightfall. Hands pull the boat up from the surf. The crew crowds around, asking what they saw. Trees, Thomas says. Fruit, no people. No danger, Gaspar adds, but not confidently. Teo asks if the jungle was silent. No, the captain answers. Worse, it was listening. That night, a strange wind picks up. It's warm, almost sweet, carrying scents the men cannot name. Some say it smells like citrus, others honey. Joel says it smells like something buried. No one sleeps well. The rats refuse to come above. At dawn, they go ashore again. This time, the captain allows Iago to join. The boy's eyes shine with pride. He clutches a small journal of his own, pages blank. They carry tools, shovels, buckets, axes. They begin to collect what they can. Strange fruits, long roots, bark that bleeds red sap. Teo stores everything in crates. The injured sailor, still recovering, watches from the deck. His arm is stiff, but his eyes stay on the tree line. The jungle remains still, until just after noon, a whisper, a shape. Something moves between the trees. Not large, not fast, but seen. Gaspar sees it first. He stiffens, hand on the hilt of his dagger. I saw someone, he says. Where? The captain asks. Gaspar points. The trees sway slightly, but no sound follows. They wait, nothing. They return early. Not in fear, not yet, but caution. Back on the ship, tension spreads. The men speak in low tones. Some tie knots to calm their hands. Thomas updates the map. He names the place Ilha do Silencio, the island of silence. Captain Afonso disagrees. Not silence, he says. Stillness. That night, the fire is not lit. No stories are told. The men eat cold bread and fish. No one complains. The stars seem dimmer. Iago writes in his journal, "We found land. It does not feel found. It feels like it was waiting." He does not show it to anyone. On the third day, the captain decides. They will leave. They have what they need. Samples, position, enough to claim success. More than enough reason to return to Lisbon. But no one questions why they're leaving so soon. They lift anchor in the early hours. The sea is calm again, but the sky has turned silver grey. Rain threatens. The jungle fades slowly behind them. Not a single word spoken by the trees. Not a single soul seen again. And yet, every man aboard feels that they were seen. Days later, at sea again, the mood lightens. Teo begins cooking hot meals. Thomas sings under his breath. Even Gaspar laughs. The storm feels distant now. The island. A dream they all remember differently. Captain Afonso records their heading. Juan whistles at the helm. And Iago, tucked below deck with a scrap of charcoal, writes a final note. We sailed into the unknown and touched land no man had ever touched. But we did not conquer it. It let us come, then it let us go. He closes the book. Up above, the sails snap full, and the ship carries them home.